My name is America.
Okay. You've had an addiction problem?
Yes. Yes, I've actually had several. Been addicted to several drugs.
Okay. And what drugs were they?
When I was 19, my addiction was with benzos, Xanax, and uh, sorry. My addiction was with Xanax and any type of benzo that I could get my hands on.
Okay.
I had got off that, and I was being prescribed opiates from my doctor, which led to opiate addiction, which then turned into a very bad heroin addiction. And from there, closer to the end of my heroin addiction, I was using heroin, any type of opiate, as well as cocaine.
How long were you using?
Um, Opiates altogether, I used about 5 years. Um, Heroin, I used a little over a year. I used heroin.
What was it? What got you started on?
What got me started on heroin was my doctor, my family doctor. I don't blame him. I blame myself, but with him prescribing me Percocets for 5 years, and a great number of Percocets, and then suddenly cutting me off without warning, that's when I then realized that I had an opiate addiction. So I was buying any type of opiate pill form that I could find, and that was very expensive. So I turned to heroin, and I immediately loved it. I loved the feeling that it gave me, and I wasn't sick anymore. I was better, so I thought, but I wasn't better.
What was that feeling like?
It was a rush. I never snorted heroin. I went right to shooting it. The first time I ever tried it, I shot it. And it was a rush. It makes your body warm and tingly and carefree. Very carefree. There's not a care in the world. Anything bad could happen, and I didn't care. It's not that I didn't care, but it put my mind at ease that was going on. Like, whatever around me was easier.
What were there emotional things you were trying to escape, or was it
Well, when I had first tried heroin, I was incarcerated. I was incarcerated before my opiate addiction had started. I was incarcerated for bogus charges, and I ended up pleading my innocence away thanks to a public defender who had no care. I was then pregnant with my son when I went to prison. I went to prison. I had him my 4th month there, and I spent 4 days with my newborn son until he went home and I had to return to jail. I went to Outmeet 3 weeks after having him, and the girls at Outmeet were using heroin, and I knew, and I just wanted something to make me forget. So I tried it. I left York County Prison a heroin addict. It took me a while after I left York County Prison from having tried heroin to going back to it, but that's when the opiates the doctor was prescribing came back into my life. And
excuse me, but you were getting heroin at York County Prison?
yeah,
Okay.
I was on Outmeet. I was on Outmeet. It was me and 7, 8 other girls, along with I don't know how many men. That's
Could you get heroin in prison?
if you wanted to. If you knew the right CO, if you knew the right people, if they knew you, then yeah, you could get just about anything.
Okay. So that's where your heroin addiction began, in prison?
That's not really where it began. That's the first time I tried heroin. That was
Okay.
I can't say I was really addicted to it while I was in prison because I only had done it a handful of times while being there. But that's when I fell in love with it. That's when I fell in love with heroin. The addiction started when my doctor stopped prescribing me the opiates. That's where it took place. It was cheaper. It was way easier to get than any pill. And the high was better. It lasted longer. It was more intense. It was just all around easier.
How long did it last?
The heroin addiction?
The high.
The high? For me, it lasted what seemed like forever at first. A few hours. But then towards the end, I wasn't even getting high. I was just getting better. I was just getting better.
How did it impact your relationships, your life, your family?
My family hated me. I was getting high with my parents. I was getting high with my high school sweetheart, who we have 2 beautiful children together. Nobody trusted me. Nobody helped me. Me and my mom got a closer bond. That was it. My high school sweetheart is still an active addict, and I've since left him. And I hate the person who he is today, but I miss the person who he was before our addiction.
Take your time. How do you feel today? Where are you at with your addiction at this point?
October 21st will be 2 years clean from heroin for me. Before my addiction ended, I lost everything. I lost all hope. I had lost myself. I lost my house. I lost my car. I lost all relationships with every family member I had. Now that I'm a year and almost 9 months into this recovery, I have my own house. I have a great job. I have a loving fiance who supports me in every way possible. My bond with my children is beyond believable. They're what keeps me going. They really are. I'm going back to school. I have morals, and I have hopes, and I have dreams that I lost. I lost them along the way.
What made you finally recover? What made you finally get off of it?
What made me finally recover is I was tired of being sick. I was tired of the withdrawal. I was tired of not having anybody to call and just talk to, and, just the reassurance. But what mainly pushed me and motivated me to get clean and stay clean was my children. I knew that if my addiction would have gone any farther, I would have either lost them or they would have lost me. And that scared me.
The first several months that you were in recovery, what was that like?
Hell. Hell. I missed the drug. You know, I missed heroin. I missed what came along with it. I missed the high. I just wanted to be high. I can remember, like, normal stressful days, you know, at my job, or stressful days with my kids where they were throwing their fits or whatever it may be, and just having that sudden craving or that sudden urge to just be high. And somebody once told me in my early recovery that if a craving lasts 20 minutes, and if you can overcome that craving, you can beat your addiction. Every time I had a craving, and even to this day, I have cravings almost on a daily basis. But I remember that, and I found something else to do. So for that 20 minutes of my craving, I would read a book, or I would go play with my children, or I would go for a walk by myself, or I would just do something to occupy my mind for that 20 minutes. And that's what really worked for me. It still works.
Did you have any medical effects from using the drugs?
I don't know what you mean by medical.
Well, did you contract any organ damage, any,
No.
okay.
I haven't been tested for Hep yet, but it's something that I've been putting off. My counselor is very much encouraging me to get tested, because what they say is if you shot it, you got it. And I never snorted heroin a day in my life. I've always shot it. But as far as I know, I don't know.
Did it create any female problems? A lot of times there's a deficiency of estrogen production and so forth.
No.
You didn't have any issues with that?
I don't. I'm currently pregnant with my third child.
Okay.
My menstruation was normal. I'm very lucky. I am. I know the statistics for that, and I'm one in a few.
How long does recovery take?
Forever. It's something that I wish I could stop thinking about heroin. I wish that it would just go away. I wish I could go back to the day before I tried it. Because I know that mentally, I'm never going to be the same as before.
How has your relationships become with your parents now?
We don't have one. We don't have one. They're both still addicts. I love them dearly.
Your parents are heroin addicts?
They're addicted to pills more than heroin. I mean, they'll do heroin.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do any drug that's in front of them. But for them to function normally, for them to get up and go to work and do daily tasks, even just doing the dishes, they have to have 3 80-oxys a day. And that's a lot. That's a lot. Thanks. That's the part I never really talk about.
You got through it.
I know. Yay.
It wasn't as bad as you probably thought it was going to be.
No. Well, I didn't think it was going to be bad. I just never.
It wasn't easy.
No, it was not easy.